Spawn and Moon Knight are two characters that most people are probably not very familiar with, or at least don't understand why they would be put against one another in battle. When we analyze their stories, their similarities become more apparent since they were both members of the military, they were betrayed by an ally, and eventually came back to fight evil under the guidance of a deity. These two characters also practice extreme methods of justice and are often portrayed as dark creatures of the night, with Spawn and Moon Knight going through an evolution in their designs and abilities as their stories progress. When taking all of these elements into account, it makes a lot of sense that fans of both characters would like to find out who would win in a battle between them. In this video, we'll be determining just that. We'll be briefly going over each character's history, powers, and abilities to determine who would win if Spawn and Moon Knight face each other in battle. Spawn, also known by his real name of Al Simmons, made his debut in the first issue of his self-titled series from Image Comics in May of 1992. It was written and drawn by Todd McFarlane, who was a very prominent artist thanks to his success with the Spider-Man comics over at Marvel during the late 80s and early 90s. McFarlane's popularity helped Spawn greatly in sales, with the first issue being the highest selling indie comic book issue with 1.7 million copies sold. The Spawn IP has remained a consistent seller over the years, spawning, pun intended, an animated series, a feature film, video games, and several spin-offs and toys. Al Simmons was a man of the military who was betrayed by one of his allies and ended up in hell, where he struck a deal with a demonic entity known as Malebolgia to come back to life. He does return, but now he is a hell spawn with several special abilities and enhanced physical attributes. It turns out that he was brought back to serve Malebolgia in his quest to destroy humanity and fight against God, but Al ignores this and decides to go on his own path. Moon Knight made his first appearance in Marvel Comics in issue number 32 of the Werewolf by Night series back in August 1975, created by writer Doug Moench and artist Don Perlin. He went on to become a bit of a cult favorite in comic book circles. While the character has had a lot of different interpretations, he is mostly known as a human vigilante quite similar to Daredevil and Punisher in terms of being street-level anti-heroes. Mark Spector was a mercenary and served the CIA during a mission in Egypt where he was betrayed and left for dead. But the Egyptian moon god Khonshu revived him and chose him as his avatar to bring justice and protect the weak. He returns to the United States using his fortune to become Moon Knight. Mark also develops different personalities or alters to gain information in different social circles. Spawn, at least based on the original version of the character in the first 40 or 50 issues of the comics, had a lot of magical abilities and physical attributes. He has the ability to heal himself, enhanced endurance, transmutation, fire breathing, teleportation, energy manipulation, immortality, superhuman durability, super strength, portal creation, the ability to stop time, and the list goes on and on. Plus, he was also a member of the military, so he has experience in the use of firearms and hand-to-hand combat. Focusing on the classic version of Moon Knight of the 70s and 80s, the character relies heavily on hand-to-hand combat and uses several weapons, especially knives. He combines a lot of different fighting styles and also has a lot of different gadgets at his disposal. Moon Knight's strength changes based on the phases of the moon, and during a full moon, his strength, speed, and agility increase. He also has a healing factor, the ability to drain another person's life energy through physical contact, has prophetic visions and dreams, and his connection to Khonshu grants him a sword of immortality, since Khonshu's power will resurrect Mark each time he dies. Considering the nature of both characters, Moon Knight would probably think of Spawn as a threat and they would end up having some sort of confrontation. When it comes to the versions of the characters involved in this battle, we're going to use the 70s and 80s Moon Knight and the early mid-90s Spawn. Spawn is very likely to dominate this fight due to the vast number of abilities that he has at his disposal. A very good example of this is the fact that Spawn can regenerate and heal his wounds, so this means that he could last longer if this battle were to go the distance, while Moon Knight could continue to take damage. There is also an argument to be made that Moon Knight could defeat Spawn in hand-to-hand combat because the former has had a lot more knowledge when it comes to that kind of battle. However, Spawn has a lot of magical abilities at his disposal, and these give him an edge over Moon Knight. Spawn has telekinesis, soul manipulation, he can shoot lasers from his eyes with his bio-laser ability, and a lot more. It's also worth pointing out that if this battle is to the death, Spawn can only be killed with a holy weapon, which is something that Moon Knight doesn't have at his disposal. When taking everything into account, Spawn wins this battle with ease. For those of you that don't know, we do a poll on our channel to get your thoughts, and in this poll, most of you seem to agree with us here as Spawn received more than 80% of your vote. The only thing that Moon Knight has over Spawn is hand-to-hand combat, but the truth of the matter is that wouldn't be enough to get the victory in this fight. Now, if you feel differently about this, feel free to argue your case down in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Who do you think would win in a battle between Spawn and Moon Knight? Let me know by leaving a comment below this video. While you're down there, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our Versus videos. And if you'd like any more content from us in the meantime, check out one of the 2 videos on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.